Yo, kings and queens, we are back for another video on the channel. I told you guys, we're going back to daily, and that's just gonna stay that way. So you guys are gonna have to deal with it. If you don't like daily videos, unsubscribe. But I don't know why you wouldn't like daily videos, so make sure you do subscribe. Because I do see that more than half of you who watch my videos are not subscribed to the channel, so make sure you are subscribed. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you stay on this journey. This is episode 3 of the High School Chronicles, and this one is actually a good one. You know, this one randomly came to me when I was driving home, so I was like, why not just make this a video? This one is actually one of the biggest stories that I do have in high school, and a lot of the people that went to high school with me would know exactly what I'm talking about when I start telling this story. Make sure you guys enjoy the gameplay in the background, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Let's hop into it for High School Chronicles episode 3. This one is about the protest that happened at my school. I know the rioting at the Capitol just happened, and I know the rioting during the summer has happened, and those were crazy events, but nothing can compare to what happened at my high school. I think it was sophomore year to be exact. So the 2016 election just concluded, so actually this had to be freshman year. Whatever, that's besides the point. The election just had concluded. Trump, of course, came out as victorious of that election, and a lot of kids don't support President Trump or former President Trump. And whatever, that's fine. Pick the side that you're on. I don't give a shit. This is about the protest, and this is a little bit of background of why the protest happened. So there was a thing written at the school, because our school was split into two, as you guys know if you saw the other High School Chronicles, and there was something written down in the school bathroom of the other campus. It was a racial slur, and it ended up getting seen, taken a picture of, and reported to the dean's office. I don't really know what happened over at that school. I don't think the dean did much, and that's what sparked the interest of the other school to have their own sit-in protest at that school. So what happened was, they had a sit-in where all the kids sat in like the main area of the school, the ones who wanted to participate, and just sat there. Peacefully sat there, nothing wrong with it. They wanted change. They wanted something to happen to the person who was responsible for it once they found out, and they also wanted a little bit more equality within the school, which is perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine to do. A sit-in protest, great. It worked in the past, and it's going to work again when it comes to my school. So they had a nice talk with the leaders and organizers of the protest, and the people that I'm talking about are the deans and the principals of the school, and they came to a common ground. The kids continued on with the day, and so did the people in charge. They ended up catching the kid, suspending the kid, I think expelling the kid, and ended up providing more programs that promoted equality. So that protest, it went well. Nothing was wrong with that protest whatsoever. But we get news of it. We're the young freshmen, sophomores. Trump just won the election, so there's a lot of racial divide in the country when that happens. And in my area, it's very mixed. It's not outweighed by white people or black people or Mexican people or Asian people. It's all a big mix, huge mix, a ton of diversity. So when he wins, of course, he's not favored with most of the minority groups. He's not even favored in some of the white groups, but that's besides the point. In the area, he wasn't favored, no matter the demographic of the people. So a lot of these kids saw that there was a racial slur written at the other school, and they also saw that they did a protest as well. So being younger, wanting to copy, of course, the bigger kids, we decided to have a protest ourselves. I didn't agree with the reason for having the protest because it wasn't there to support the injustice or the racial slur that happened at the other school. It was honestly just a protest so you could skip class, yell "fuck Trump" through the hallways, and blast music. So that's why I did not participate in it. And I remember, we were sitting down, it was me and my three other friends, and we were at lunch at the time. That's when the protest was supposed to take place. The lunchroom was dead. A ton of kids joined it. We ended up going outside to see what it looked like. There are probably about 600 kids in the main hall, and our school is big, so we had probably a graduating class, I think, of like a few thousand. So we had a lot of kids into that school. That's why they had to split it off into two. But the reason that these kids did this protest was honestly just to skip class. When this protest was happening, and like I said, it was dead at lunch, we went to check it out. We were like, holy shit, this is crazy. Went back to eating. Whatever. All is well. We eat, we finish our stuff. The lunchroom is still dead. we don't really hear what's going on because the school's huge. So we didn't hear anything in the lunchroom because that's not where the majority of the people who were doing this quote-unquote protest were. The next thing you know, I'm heading to my Western civilization class, actually. And the protesters, or whatever you want to call them, kids that wanted to skip class, were running through the halls on the 3rd floor because I was on the 3rd floor at the time. And when we were at lunch, they were on the 1st floor, so they made it up to the 3rd floor. It wasn't all of them. You was here banging on the lockers. I see my teacher. She's the same one who actually, in my first High School Chronicles video, that was the teacher who had that student teacher that year. So she was the teacher that really liked me that year. And she was so scared. She didn't know what to do. She's like, kids, don't worry about it. I could tell her mom mode was kicking in. Don't worry about it, kids. I'm going to lock the door. We're going to try to teach as much as we can. Please try to ignore it, as I am as well. And you could see the nervousness in her face. She's like, I am going to die today by a bunch of freshmen and sophomores kids. She was worried. I mean, to me, it was a disgrace because, like, come on. It's just like seeing what happened at the Capitol. Like, that's just a disgrace to America. So this was like a disgrace to my school. Like, this is really the kids that I ride with at school. They're running around the halls, banging on lockers for no reason. Yes, they had a reason, and it was because of a racial slur, but you could have done it in a way that didn't cause disruption. And like I said, the protest had nothing to do with it, because while they were running around the 3rd floor and banging on lockers, banging on the classroom doors, they were screaming, of course, like I said, fuck Trump. That had nothing to do with the racial slur that was at the other campus. They just wanted to be copycat of their big brothers at the other campus. So then, continuing with the fuck Trump slurs, you could hear the YG song playing. You can hear just other rap music playing throughout the hallways. I love rap music, nothing wrong with them, just trying to describe the story in more detail. They were just blasting rap music throughout the hallways, going absolutely nuts. It had nothing to do with what happened, just like I said, and this continued on probably the entire day. I ended up trying to go to my next class. You had like teachers and deans guarding the people who were just trying to go to class because they didn't know what these kids were gonna do. They were yelling fuck Trump and blasting music. I mean, they're not here for any real message. They're just here to cause a disruption. So these teachers and security guards were worried. I didn't fucking care. I mean, I knew most of the kids were participating and we're cool, so I didn't care. I was just trying to get to class. I was like, I don't want to be part of this bullshit. I'm just trying to get home. I don't want to be here to begin with. So then the kids make their way through the entire school, doing stuff, waving flags too. I don't know whose idea it was to wave flags, but kids were bringing like flags of countries, like the American flag, a Mexico flag, Spanish flag, Spain flag probably, I don't know. I saw the Mexico and the US one though. I was like, what is going on at my school? I was like, I know my school is kind of ghetto, but I don't know how you guys did this. I did not hear about any other schools having this. This ended up making the news by our house. This is how insane of an event it was. They decided to cover the more peaceful one that was actually productive and made sense, but they didn't cover the one that was just at our school, just for kids to practically skip class. In my head, this was more of a crazier story that happened at my school, because this is unheard of, right? This is unheard of. What school do you know that just had a huge protest for no reason, yelling fuck Trump and blasting music? So it was cool in my head, but the thing is, I wasn't there, so I didn't have as many experiences with it. Like I said, I had the teacher getting all worried because kids were banging on shit. I saw the kids at lunch, they were just going crazy, and I walked back to lunch to eat because it was some bullshit that they were on, so I don't care about it. But I wish I had more to say about it. At the end of the day, a lot of the kids were found out because they didn't get to class, and yeah, it's a lot, so you don't think you're gonna get in trouble when you're in a huge majority and a huge wave of people, but the teachers were easily able to tell. When you're not in class and you're marked absent, but you were there the rest of the day, you were shown to be at this so-called protest. So a lot of the kids ended up getting in trouble, but a lot of kids didn't serve, and they couldn't really penalize the kids that didn't go. So the kids that decided not to go, there were too many of them, so they never got in any extra trouble for not going. The kids who went, they didn't have to go, like I mentioned. That's just how it ended up working out, because there were just so many kids that participated in it. Like I said, our school is huge, and they got most of these kids. They got them 600 kids in trouble, pretty much. And it was just kind of a crazy experience in high school. What other high school do you know that has kids having a protest? And not a logical one either, a riot, if you will. I wouldn't call it a riot, but I don't know what other word to describe it, because it wasn't a protest either. It was just stupidity. It was funny, and it's always going to be a good high school memory. I'll always be able to joke with my friends, like, y'all remember when they had that stupid ass protest for no reason, just screaming through the hallways because they wanted to miss class? And we all know what we're talking about. We all know the kids who did it, and most of them weren't even there to protest anything. Like I said, they were there just to have fun too, because I could see why it's fun. You're yelling through your school, running through the hallways, blasting music. You can't do that any normal day of the week. So they were like, why not go do this? So whatever reason, the kids were there. You know, some were there for the good reasons, some were there for the bad reasons. It ended up turning bad, so it just looked bad on the school. But it was definitely an experience. A protest happening in your school during school hours. Just an interesting day that was. They were thinking about canceling school for a minute. That's how interesting of a day that was. I wish they canceled school because I didn't want to be there and it was a bunch of bullshit. But whatever, I got through it. Now I don't have to do school ever again, so I don't give a shit. But I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. Hope you guys all enjoyed the third episode of the High School Chronicles. We're going to be on to episode 4 next week. I'm going to put in a story that I can go more in-depth with. Like, yeah, this was fun, but I need to go a little bit more in-depth when I'm talking about my stories. But anyways, I don't care. You guys have a fantastic night. I am going to have that part 2 of the Big Time Rush video dropping tomorrow. The other one didn't do too hot, but still, I want to get the part 2 out there. That one will drop tomorrow. I hope you guys all enjoyed yet again. Make sure you check out the outro song. Like, subscribe. You guys are kings. You guys are fucking queens. And make sure you subscribe to KOG. Have a great fucking night.
Bitch, I'm riding down the E-way, smoking Doty, yo bitch passenger. If I fuck her once, then bitch, I'm passing her. 93, that's foreign, fill this bitch up to capacity. Arsenal, treat a little bitch nigga like he Cassidy. X this little bitch out, I'm in her mouth just like a